Hello YouTube, Ronan Kazi, Destiny 2 gameplay. So you may have seen some of the videos where Ultimate Shield and Sloth Moods and I run Destiny 2. Grin 8 is also playing Destiny 2, and Super Slacky is going to play some Destiny 2. So I'm still leveling up my my armor. If you're new to the game or want an in-depth way to make a build, you should check out Ultimate Shield. Has several videos on that in-depth that gives you a good explanation of things. I've kind of settled on this Strand melee build, and so now I'm just trying to get up to 1800 now. And I'm going very incrementally. I'm doing my battlegrounds and whatever that other thing I like to do. And then if I have to, I'll do the PvP. But what I've tried to do is mix in a bunch of other games. I still really like Destiny 2, so that is on a definite playlist for me. I do a lot of stuff in the European Defense Zone because when I played Destiny 2 before, that's where I mainly played and did the quest line through there, so it's very familiar to me. And what I'm doing is the daily bounties from the gunsmith. So I do a lot of those. And so sometimes they force me to use these rifles. So that's why I'm not using my bow and that kind of stuff. And the other thing, what happens is I do a lot of Destiny 2 when there's an area right near the bounty giver here in EDZ that I love playing there. It's like non-stop Cabal and then some Fallen. And I remember the first time I got that mechanic where those round ball things send you up in the air. I think it was on that base that's on this map. And I just had no idea what was happening. Now it's kind of expected. And so what I like about Destiny 2 is that the gameplay is so straightforward that if you play the game enough, you'll understand the mechanics. The mechanics aren't so hard that you have to go online and figure out how to do stuff. And they're not so easy that it's just like, stay out of the red area. But you can see if you shoot the boss now, excuse me, it says immune. And then you see that there's a tether somewhere. So then you figure out, hey, I got to get the tether. And there's usually some lieutenant boss relationship on all these bosses. Like, you may have to kill some lieutenants to induce a drop by the lieutenant so they can start attacking the boss. I've added one more game that'll probably come out. Let's see, today's Wednesday. They'll probably come out Friday, and then I'm going to try to really stabilize when I'm going to release videos, so that if you like certain content, it'll come out. Part of the problem, I started this off as a Division 2 channel, and I did a lot of stuff. But honestly, I really like playing legendaries. And I don't know how many legendaries. There's only 5 legendaries in the game, so that content would seem to me gets pretty stable or stale. Here's Ronan doing this time. Here's it doing this time. And I could go through each legendary. Sorry for the voice this morning. I could go through each legendary with different builds, but I always default back when I want to get through a legendary to a couple of builds. I maybe think about a third build when I'm in a legendary, but for my part, in my game style and what I think you need in a legendary, I'm probably not going to give up my play style to just do some videos for you where I'm not going to be very successful. So there's that. I could do heroics, but heroics are incredibly easy. And anything below that is just, you know, when you do those speed runs, I would maybe do those on shorts because they're just, it's fun because it makes you feel so powerful, you know, when you go through there. I think the only one I don't get a 10 on is normally Manning because it's just so long, period. Not that it's hard. And even with my build, you know, with the Vile Jammer, you're just AOE, area of effect, damaging everyone. So it's incredibly fast. Once on hard, it's you do a pulse and you're moving to the next area, maybe throw out Seekers, and you just roll through that content. And so to me, that seems fairly obvious. And as I started doing the channel and I felt more comfortable, if you ever look back at my first videos, you know, I would put some titling in there. Now I'm doing this. And I didn't speak in the videos that much. And then when I started speaking in the videos, it just seemed pretty obvious, you know, like this build is a build that you should have in your repertoire. And maybe you should have this type of gameplay, and you should be in cover, and even to me that starts getting a little preachy. So I would try some different things, and then I'd have different ideas like, you know, I bet purples could do just as good as golds, and I did that as a video. And that's like against the whole against the whole industry of build videos. You know, that your build doesn't matter. And why it matters is it's because what you like to play. If you stop thinking about the Division 2 like I just want to win all the time and I want to have fun, then those builds all make sense. Tip of the spear, what if I could have unlimited, constant, super weapon ammo? Well, that's great. If you have a minigun, that's great. If you're a technician, you have that stupid rocket launcher that does barely works. And then, or you have the bow if you're a survivalist. But like if you have the minigun or the grenade launcher, those are awesome. So some of those builds are great in that they're great ideas. And if you're making a game, you know, when you go in a game and you can only play 3 characters, the characters are you can change the color of their hair. But you can either be a healer, a tank, or a DPS. How often do you stick with those games? You want to make a character, you want to personalize it, and you want to have a gameplay style that is what you imagine. So I don't blame the people who make the games to give you that kind of strategy. And if you look at the difference between Destiny 2 and the Division, you have one character and you can put all this different armor on that changes your spec. In Destiny 2, you're one of 3 classes, but in each class, you have subclasses, and within the subclasses, you can set up the character in such a way that, like, I'm a melee warlock, which is, I'm sure, not the meme or the meta. So I'm going through here, just doing a lot of the lower level, just trying to get my bounties done, figuring out what I need to do next. And I'm creeping up on, I think at the end of this, I don't know if I show you that, but I'm at 1779. I'm getting close to 1780. Now, my friends that play this, my YouTube friends that play this, they're both over 1800. And I don't mean to be that douchey friend that's like, you know, we could have done this thing, except you're not high enough level. You know, so that happened once to us. I wasn't high enough to do the Iron Kingdom PvP stuff. And they put up with me. I appreciate it. And I've been working like the last 2 weeks. So in my job, I'm like a marketing outreach person. And so there was a trade show on the weekend, so I had to work all weekend. And at these trade shows, you're on. And what I mean by that is you're interfacing with people, you're looking them in the eye, you're listening to their stories, you're telling them your pitch, and there's that. And I think I've told you about my career. So this is a point in my career where I have made a conscious choice to earn less money, where I could be more productive in society. My dad told me a long time ago, he said, when I was young, I wanted to be a do-gooder. I wanted to help people and do all that. And he said, why don't you make money first and then help people that way? And so I went in the Coast Guard, so I didn't do that immediately. He had passed away at that point, and I think that was one of the reasons I could go in the military. My dad didn't get to serve. He was bedridden during World War II, so he didn't get to serve. So that worked out, I guess. But I think he wanted to do that. But from his perspective, he didn't look at the military as a career path forward. And to be honest, if you look at it from his perspective, you had World War II, which was a righteous fight, I guess. And then you had the Korean War, which was nebulous. We're fighting this idea. Then you have the Vietnam War, which is like war for war's sake, in one sense. And he had a business where he profited off that. He just didn't want me to do it. So when he passed away, that opened up that avenue. I tried to go to school. I think I've said this before. I was philosopher. That's where a lot of this junk comes from. That's what I've been interested in. But I eventually went in the Coast Guard. Wanted to join the Navy and be a nuclear tech. And that just didn't seem like, when you're a little kid, you don't grow up and say, I want to be a nuclear tech. You don't even know what that is. Like, I wanted to be challenged. Then I was going to join the Marines. And my mom begged me not to go in the Marines. And it's because the Marines are first to fight, first to die. And I think they have the toughest boot camp, but they're going to be that's the people they send out there first. I think they send some Army units now. There's Army expeditionary stuff. And I don't want this to get into a big military, this service is better than that service. I was able to go in the Coast Guard. It was a mission that you could do during peacetime, so it worked out for me. I was always around water. That's one reason I wanted to be in the Navy. But Navy was to be around water. I didn't necessarily know anything about salt water. I grew up near the Great Lakes. You can imagine my first, even being an intellectually college-educated person, when I was on the boat in the Caribbean, and you stand watches on military boats. So there's a thing called the flying bridge. It's an area on the boat that you can control the boat that's highest up, and it's out exposed to the elements. So when you want to get this all around view, you can do it. So you'd stand watch on the flying bridge, and I just remember being up there where I was on a WPB 1306, the Nunivak, and you get the salt spray. So the water was warm, which was what I wasn't used to. And then it was salty. So that was always really weird to me, because I imagine the water is fresh, cold, and without salt. So all that being said, I went in the military. That was my service. And when I got out of the military and I had a family, I was like, I got to make some money. So I took all that energy that I had in the Coast Guard, I became an officer in charge and all the stuff, and I just put that in the civilian world, and I was successful for what I wanted to do. And I know I've always frustrated a lot of people because I always thought, you could do so much more. But I wanted to be with my family. I had a certain vision that I want. I think in one of these videos recently I talked about alignment. You can't tell a 5 and a 10-year-old, my two sons, I'm doing this because, they just saw what I did. And I think every Saturday, I was a traveling technician for a long time, but every Saturday when I was home, I would take them out to pizza. We had a Pizza Hut in our town, and we'd go in there every Saturday, and we'd talk, and they kind of got, these talks I do in these videos, they got to them 5 and 10, so they grew up with all of this. But I wanted to be there for them all that time. So I eventually made that, matriculated up in these companies, went to different companies, always enjoyed that. Always was able to utilize my skill set wherever I went. We can talk about that at a different time about, what kind of college degree you should have and all that. And then when COVID hit, I'm a VP at a company, and I just didn't like the direction that we were going in, and we didn't put our people first. And if you put, what COVID was almost nearly 100 years after the flu of 1918. So you put it in perspective, when it's starting to happen, I'm like, this is a global kind of event, and we should take care of our people. A lot of companies say we value our people. And I can't tell you how many times I fought, and this is nothing against the people I worked with. No one knew what the heck to do. My boss was getting pressure from his bosses, I'm sure, but it was all over the world. And being a German-owned company, they had a different perspective of COVID than we did. And telling people with their families that they got to go out and still work during the middle of COVID when everyone else is shut down. And they got to get on a plane and go fly somewhere. And the hotels don't have people cleaning the rooms because, right? So it was really difficult. And during that time, we made some business decisions that I just really didn't agree with. And we didn't, in my opinion, we didn't put the people forward. So there came a point where, and I had to drive, 150 miles a day to get to that job. And that was probably 2 hours both ways with the traffic. So it's like 4 hours. So if I'm working 9-10 hours, so I'm having 14-hour days. And in the middle of COVID, we didn't have enough people. So I'm going there every day and I'm doing every single job. I was operations VP. So I'm just doing everything, shipping, receiving, everything. And so I eventually just was like, well, number one, I don't want to drive so far. Number two, something in my core is to help people, and I want to put people first. So I got a job in healthcare, and I'll tell you about that at another point. That was eye-opening. So I got the job I have now, and the job I have now is, the mission is on brand for me and what I want to do. So that's where I was on the weekends, and I'm trying to, in my role, improve what we have been doing and make it better and help everyone I can. So that's why I'm not always doing the videos, but I got the videos down. I used to do them. I would record the video the night before, and then when I got home, let's say around 5 o'clock, try to produce it by 6 o'clock. And what I just found is that there was a lot of pressure. If I had to stop and do something, I would just get agitated because then putting out the videos seemed like a job. It's not a job. It's something I love to do. So I just got to a point. This is one of those lost things that you go get stuff from. So I like doing those as well. Sorry, haven't been talking about the game, but kind of showing you where it was at. I went in there, got it, or I'm going there. Now I'm going to do a public event. That's one of the things I love about Destiny 2. There's just always things to do without. I should probably do more missions, but I'll probably start doing that more too. But I change my schedule so I play a bunch of games and then I produce them like in an assembly line, and then I schedule them. And then I listen back to them because I'm trying to, I realize I've always been told that people say, man, you go all over the place. You start here and you go here and you go here. And for me, I see the thread where all this is connected, but I understand other people don't see that thread. I think you should see the thread. It's obvious. But it's not obvious. It's in my stupid head. So there's themes for some of the videos, and I never intended it just to be game stuff because I'm playing a couple new games, right? I'm playing Destiny 2, which is kind of new again for me. I'm playing Elden Ring, which is new, and I have a third new game. And I don't watch any videos on how to play those games. Because I told you very in the beginning that I like to solve these puzzles. It's a puzzle I want to solve. And so people's videos are very influential. And that's just me. I want you to think where I'm coming from. If I'm in philosophy and I've read a lot of philosophy, it's hard not to incorporate really good ideas into your own ideas. That's part of all this. You're building on other stuff. So I don't really want to, sometimes I want a fresh look at these games. And, you know, I don't mind if Ultimate, so I have this relationship with Ultimate Shield that we make content together. So I can directly say, I can prop him up. This is someone I know, and this is someone's videos I watch, and then so I don't mind propping him up. And Sloth Mood is the same way. So I know them. I have a genuine connection. These other people I don't know, and I don't know where they're getting their stuff. Are they in the game? You know, I watch a guy do a solo legendary run and you can't do it. I'm suspect if they have a bunch of cuts. If I'm going around town, who cares if I cut this video up? No one cares. You understand I'm going from thing to thing. The important part isn't that I'm running from place to place. The important part is you're seeing the action or you're listening to the stupid commentary. On a build video where I'm doing this, if I don't see how the builds run, when I run build videos, and I've done a lot of builds and I've recorded it and I'm like, this build just sucks. And I'll just say it's because I'm a shitty game player, right? So I'll take the hit because other gamers obviously do it, but sometimes I'm suspect because I watch that build in a legendary and I just watch it get tore up. There's very few people that run in some of these builds that just go through there nonstop and aren't dead all the time. The majority is people see a build they like and then they run it and then it's in a legendary. They don't know how to play legendary and they die a lot. So anyways, that's enough for another day. And please just play what you want. That's at the end of the day, I don't care what build you play. I'm going to help you get there and you're going to help me get there. And like you saw with Rose Fox, sometimes I get carried and I appreciate it. So this is where I usually say, please like, subscribe, comment, share. Appreciate everyone on YouTube. Got a good video coming out today, which is whatever day it is in the internet world. Thanks. Talk to you later. Bye.